Hey, what's up, guys? Let's talk about salary progression with your career progression as a software developer. And I'm going to focus on the first, say, 2 to 5 years. It's going to go along with our recent post about career progressions for a software developer. And I hope it helps you guys. So, for most of you guys jumping in, you're probably thinking about salary a lot, especially if you're just starting out. You're probably wondering how much money are you going to make as a software developer? Maybe you're a college student or you're somebody that went to a boot camp and you're just trying to get into the industry and you're trying to get a good understanding. So when you apply for your jobs, you can negotiate, right? Well, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of tough information, but I want to be real with you. So sometimes you're going to hear that software developers make these huge six-figure salaries all the time. And like even the entry level people graduating from college are getting offers in the 100K plus ranges, right? Unfortunately, that's not the majority. Okay. If you want to make 100K starting out of college, you have to join either a small startup that's been very well funded, that, to be honest, is not allocating their money very wisely, or they're so small and risky that they're giving a large paycheck to even beginners, or you need to join a top tier company. So a lot of the time we refer to them as like FANG, FANGG, which would be like Facebook, Amazon, Google, who's the N? Netflix. Is Netflix up there? Apple was usually up there, FAANG. So those are going to be your big companies that offer the large salaries and large compensation packages. And even there, when you get there, you're not going to receive this massive package out of college where your base salary is going to be like 200K. That just doesn't happen. And to get into those companies, it's very competitive and you have to be prepared and you have to ace your interviews. Okay. For most people, what ends up happening is you join a company out of college and your salary starting out is great compared to the rest of the career paths out there, but it's not usually at the 100K level. It takes a few years to get there and you can absolutely get there, but it does take a little bit of time and effort for you to do that. Normally, so let's jump in there. Normally, starting out as an entry level developer, the salary range you should expect to hear from as a junior developer is probably between, I'd say, 35K and about 70K. Now, I'm specifically talking about the title of junior developer, which, if you've paid attention to my other posts, man, I keep hitting my mic. If you've watched my other posts, I talk about why the junior developer title is a load of crap. Okay. The junior developer title is just there to pay you less money. You're really not going to be doing a huge difference between a junior developer and software developer role. What is different is when you go from a general software developer to someone in like the 3 years of experience range. Okay. Just having that junior in the title or associate software engineer or some kind of extra kind of prefix to your engineer title is just giving them the ability to ask or pay you less. So just keep that in mind. A software engineer, if you go to any of these big companies, which is what title you get when you join any of them at the six-figure range, will do roughly the same work as a junior, but you are not going to get paid as little. So if you could find a place that hires you as a normal software engineer, your general range should be probably around 50 to 85. If you're, for example, in San Diego, of course, I'm talking about the West Coast right now, and you get a job in San Diego at a company like Qualcomm, Qualcomm's entry-level salary ranges, I've heard, range from like 60K to about 85K, 90K if you get really lucky and can negotiate very well. But that's the West Coast. Now, if you're, for example, in Texas, right? So this is from my own example. I worked in Fort Worth, Texas, and my salary as an entry-level engineer was around, it was in the range of $55,000 to $56,000 coming out of college as a new hire. Okay. So that is a good range. That's a pretty good salary for someone in Texas. Your cost of living significantly lower. If you're living out there and renting, it's not bad at all. If you're looking to buy a house, of course, with property taxes being double, that's a little bit of a different question, but it's still a great salary for that area. Okay. So expectations, year one, coming out of college, anywhere between 35 to about 75, 85. Depends on that title, junior or remove junior and just be a software engineer. And yeah, keep that in mind. Now, salary progression, year number 2 and 3. As you progress in your career, by year 2 and 3, you really should be hitting that salary range of, let's say, 60K to about 85K. Hey, big guy. Oh, you guys see the big guy down here? Hi, buddy. So yeah, 60 to around 85K. If you're working somewhere and you have been progressing, you've been getting good reviews from your peers as well as your managers or your direct report or whoever you're directly reporting to, but you have not seen a salary increase to that rough range, then I advise you consider other locations. Okay. What I mean by that is apply to another dang job. And if you're not thinking about that, if you're thinking that you should keep this job because they've been nice enough to give you a job this whole time and you're really loyal to them, watch some of the other videos out there. Go check out the ones by Josh Fluke about his experience with that and then his recommendations there. Go read some Quora posts from experienced software engineers. Generally, don't tie yourself down to a company out of loyalty. If you find another role, that company should be excited and ecstatic that they helped you enough to develop your experience and knowledge so you can get paid better at another job. If they hold that against you, then take that as you may. I'd say peace to them, okay? So that's year number 2 to 3. If you are not moving up that quickly, think about your progressions here. By year 3 plus, you really should be hitting that 75K plus range. Now, you may be maxing out at that 75K to about 100K if you stay as an individual contributor or a software engineer in, let's say, the states in the middle of the US, okay? If you move out to the West Coast or East Coast, you're enabling higher salary potential. After that 3 to 5 year mark, that 3-4 year mark, you should be able to pull higher than even 90K. You could probably start pulling in that 100 plus if you were to move to the coasts. Okay. In either way, you need to learn how to negotiate and how to find those roles that are going to pay you that number. And, salary isn't everything to everybody. It shouldn't be to you. You should find something that fits well where you can learn, especially during your first few years. But keep in mind what those ranges should be. You never want to be extremely undervalued. You want to know what your value or worth should be for the market so that when you do have a chance to negotiate this, you have the power on your side. Okay. Now, after your 5 plus year to 10 plus year mark or 5 to 10 year mark, that's when you're really going from becoming like a mid-level developer to a senior level developer. And your salary will probably increase, but it's going to be like steady annual increases. Or if you're job hopping, you could find like let's say like a 7 to 15, maybe 20% raise by going to another company. But during those years, you're really establishing your kind of senior level experience and skills, or you're beginning your transition from engineer to leader or manager. Okay. There's a difference between the two. If you are looking to progress in your career, either option works. I think that becoming an engineer past that is extremely valuable. You're going to be very valuable as a contributor and possibly as a lead. And that's great if you want to stay down that route. If you want to go into the management side, if you're able to progress and lead a team of engineers, that may open up more opportunity to larger salary numbers. Again, that depends on if that's important to you. Some of us like to be in the weeds, writing code and solving problems. So if that's the case and you're at that 5 to 10 year mark, you can start pushing for those larger salaries. If your company's not willing to do it, apply somewhere else that may value you more. You may have to go to the West or East Coast again in the States, or go whatever country you go, wherever the high salaries are paid, and apply. And then once you've got that offer, if it's large enough, if you've negotiated it, you could also try to negotiate with your company, see if they'll counter. It doesn't always work, and there's a lot of reasons why you don't want to accept a counter offer from your own company, but I'm not going to go into that on this chat. So again, start out, you're starting 35 to around 60, 70. When you're out of college, your years 2 to 3, you could probably bring that up to about 80, 85. Once you're at that 3 to 5 year mark, you're probably going to be able to pull up to about 90. And then after that, your salary can either jump up drastically if you know how to negotiate it or move to the East or West Coast, or you'll begin transitioning your career from engineer, individual contributor to a manager or leader. And I think that's usually where your career progression salary will keep on increasing past that 5-10 year mark. Good luck with your guys' salary and a hike here, guys. I hope you guys have a little more power behind your negotiation tactics when the next time you get an offer. If you have any questions about it, post them down below and subscribe. Have a good one, you guys.